The concept of a dual-use space system is the idea in general terms that something can be used either as a tool or as a weapon.
You can imagine a system that is developed for a benign purpose, like active debris removal, a robotic arm pulling a dysfunctional satellite into a graveyard orbit. This will support space safety and sustainability.
But that same grappling mechanism can be used to grab onto somebody else's satellite to take it out of service. And one of the ways I put this is one person's trash removal system is another person's anti-satellite weapon.
So these kinds of systems can serve multiple uses and multiple purposes that can help both, for instance, for economic, civilian, military, and other goals.
I'm Bruce McClintock.
My name is Anka Agaki.
My name is Karen Schwint. My name is Krista Langland.
My name is Mélusine Lebré.
One of the main takeaways from this research is that there's not an agreed-upon definition of dual-use space systems, which creates challenges when trying to determine which systems need to be governed, how they need to be governed, and why. So really in this first year, our objective was to baseline our understanding of these systems and get all of these different regional perspectives. And we found a pretty wide variance. So that, of course, gets in the way of developing policy, norms, and governance for these systems.
There are 3 reasons why it's so difficult to find agreement on using space. Number 1, space is one of the global commons we have. And so because of that, it's very difficult to find agreement on how we can all use this resource while maintaining its sustainability. Second of all, different countries have different national interests, and sometimes those interests can collide or can conflict, which again makes agreement difficult. And then third, politics on ground affect what's happening above our heads. So because of that, it's critically important that we have an international perspective on the research that we do and understand how different actors view this very important shared resource.
Everybody should have some kind of a say in how we utilize common resources like space. And therefore, in my view, everybody should have a say in how we govern space for the long-term benefit of humanity. So our Duality in Space project had 3 regional teams that we focused our research on. The first was the Americas, so North and South America. The second was the Eurasia region. And then the third region was the Indo-Pacific region.
We found out that the Americas is an effervescent region. There's a lot going on, both in terms of investments and in terms of the policies that are being developed. And that partnerships play an increasingly important role, whether it is partnerships with the United States via the Artemis Accords or with China via various infrastructure projects.
It was about bringing together 15 participants from across Europe, Eurasia, and from 15 different organizations with 15 different interests, expertise, and oftentimes backgrounds. I think what was the most interesting bit of the workshop was, of course, to anticipate how to moderate this really multifaceted group of stakeholders.
In each of the countries that we examined, the commercial sector is increasingly integrated into defense-adjacent supply chains. Many participants disagreed on the best way to build consensus around which governance mechanisms should govern which dual-use space systems, with some countries advocating for minilateral as opposed to bilateral, multilateral approaches, and others instead advocating for revisions to or reinterpretation of existing international treaties.
Another key aspect of our research was to complete an extensive literature review and country perspectives analysis that was led primarily by Krista Langland.
Now that we've gathered regional perspectives, summarized our key findings, we have a better understanding of what existing policies are and how different regional actors think about those policies. In year 2, we'll have in-person regional discussions to help us understand what policies need to do and what the constraints might be.
The ideal outcome that we are contributing to through this RAND work is to have generally agreed upon definitions for what constitutes a dual-use system so that different nation states and owner-operators have a common lexicon that they can apply as they're talking about what could be considered dual-use systems. It's a reality that there's going to be more things in space, and that it's going to be hard to distinguish what things are serving a strictly military or national security purpose and what things are serving a strictly civil commercial purpose.
The risks for miscalculation and escalation can increase as countries are unclear about their intentions as well as their priorities. So it's very important that we develop early on policy and governance norms that we can use to manage this important domain for all of humanity.
There's truly a need for this work because there are no common definitions. There's not any one entity that's advancing this conversation. So I'm excited to be part of a team at RAND that is contributing to filling that gap.